everyone. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you about a controversial subject in the subliminal community, which is the question, should we tell people about subliminals or should we not? Before I get into this, once again, you probably will be hearing a little bit of background noise. That's just a given when you come into my channel at this point in time. So, don't be surprised. I will try to cut it out. But anyway, the question, should we tell other people about subliminals or not? And most people in the community, including myself, we would all agree that we want to keep it as silent and quiet as possible, for a few multiple reasons. But one of the biggest reasons that people have, which is my biggest reason as well, we don't want it to get into the wrong hands. And, I know everybody hears that everywhere. And people will say, oh, what is already in the wrong hands? And that's true. That is true. It is in some wrong hands. There are some bad subliminals out there. But on top of that, there's also subliminal messages in the media today that people use for negativity and yada, yada, yada. So I get that. But at the same time, you have to understand where we're coming from in the fact that we don't want, we're just trying to prevent that kind of thing from happening. And honestly, in the end of the day, there's really no need to go off and tell people. There's really no need to, because in the end of the day, the truth and the fact of the matter is, a good majority of people, unless you absolutely prove it to them, a good majority of people are not going to believe you and they're not going to go for it. And even if they do believe you, there's a lot of people out there who get lazy with subliminals. A lot of people don't get their results because they get lazy with subliminals. That's just the hard facts. Even if they full on believed it, that's just the hard facts because, most people aren't going to be committed. And now you would say, oh, well, da-da-da-da-da, we should save people's lives, we should do this and that. But the truth is, in my personal opinion, I just personally feel that subliminals are something that is a calling for you. And to me, it's the same exact difference as a witch. Before I begin with this other conversation, I just want to state that I believe in reincarnation. I believe in reincarnation of the soul into another body. It could be on this earth, it could be on a different earth somewhere, or a different planet somewhere out there. But the thing is, I believe in reincarnation. That's the point. And I personally believe that with time, these things come to you. They call on you. You don't call on them. You don't drag people into your mess. You don't drag people up into your belief system like that. Whether it can save someone, whether it can change their looks or do whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't take them and you don't drag them into it. It calls upon them. And the thing is this, and as I said before, it's the same thing with witchcraft. It calls on you. And the thing is, a lot of people, there's this big old debate in the witchcraft community of, are you born a witch or are you made a witch? And a lot of people say, well, I was born a witch, well, I was made a witch. Here's the thing. I believe it's both, because the thing is, you can be the witch lifestyle can be calling on you the moment you're born. Personally, that's how it went for me. Ever since I was little, ever since I was very, very young, it was calling on me. I would use manifestation without actually understanding what the hell manifestation was. I just knew I could make things happen, and I made it happen. So basically, it called me, that style, that lifestyle called upon me, that energy called upon me when I was a young girl. But that does not exclude the fact that it can also call upon people in a later life. It can call upon someone when they're in their teen years. It could call upon someone in their 20s. It could call upon someone in their 80s. It doesn't matter. And it just because it doesn't call on you within that lifetime, I personally believe that in due time, everybody becomes a witch. In due time, because the more you reincarnate, the more you start to learn, start to open up your third eye, start to open up yourself, and become more wise. And with that wisdom comes power. And whether you use that power for good or for bad doesn't matter, because a lot of people, that's a whole other conversation, honestly, and I'm gonna get into that in another video about karma, using energy for bad and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna get into that another video, okay, and about protection too. It doesn't matter whether they use it for good or evil. The point is, this is bare energy that they're working with. And either way, they have accumulated enough knowledge and enough power throughout their lives that this energy called upon them. This energy took them to a certain website that made them learn about it and they piqued interest. This energy guided them to certain places so they can learn about this. That's how it happens. That's guidance. That is the energy calling upon you. And the same thing goes for subliminals. And the reason it does is because the truth of the matter is, subliminals in the end of the day is just another form of manifestation. People don't realize that. That's another thing. People don't realize that manifestation is a part of subliminals. Yes, subliminals, like it works with your mind. It's a little different. And that's why subliminals are just so freaking amazing, because, it uses these audio messages and it literally encrypts it in your subconscious, so that way it's like you don't really have to do the majority of the work. But in the end of the day, you are still manifesting something, and you do not need subliminal audio in order to do that, because newsflash, honey, subliminal is not a new thing. It derives from other spiritual things, from ancient witchcraft practices. Witches have been doing this shit for years and years and years. This is nothing new. The only thing is that it's something which even back then was very taboo in spirituality. It was very taboo because people can't fully fathom changing their physical appearance and changing these different things and doing these things, and possibly even living forever, with these kinds of powers. In their mind, they think of other things. Some people associate it with nature, some associate with da 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 da. In the end of the day, the truth is, it's all it all accounts for your interpretation, your belief, and so on. The difference between subliminals, however, is because of the fact that it's continuously encrypting it into your subconscious, it basically forces your subconscious into processing it and changing whatever you're trying to change. Like, literally, that's the only difference. With witchcraft, or if you're using different practices, it's a little bit more, you need that belief in order to make it happen. But with something like this, it's a little different, and it encrypts into you, which is why it's so becoming more popular. And I understand, I get it, and it's a new method. It's interesting, it's fast and more easy. Still, this is just something, this, in the end of the day, whether you believe in it or not, the truth is, it is a spiritual path. It is a well-being path. It doesn't matter whether you believe in a God, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're this or that. It does not matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter at all. It is a spiritual path that you are taking and that you are learning. And guess what? You don't need to share your spiritual path with anybody. That path called upon you. Okay, it didn't call upon Miss Bertha down the street. Okay, it didn't call on Jamie 5 blocks away. Okay, like, it called upon you, honey, you. So stop telling people, stop doing this and that to tell people, or stop whatever. And I'm not saying you can't tell people per se. I'm not saying you can't, but the thing is, stop mass telling people. Don't mass tell people. It's fine to tell your family if you feel like they're going to be open to it, and if you want to help your family out. I do the same thing. My sister knows about this, and I love it because she's my best friend. She's literally has been my best friend for years. That's my sister. Like, I can trust her. I know I can trust her. So it's like, that's the difference. You have to know you can trust this person. You can't just go off telling your friend and being like, oh yeah, Becky, da 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 da, I know what's up with the universe. You can't be telling people like that, okay? Because they gonna probably mess you up for all you know. They could go off. That person can go off and do subliminals to steal your man. Okay, I'm being serious. I'm just being real. I'm being upfront and honest with all of you. Okay? People are nuts. People are nutty sometimes. Okay? You have to watch out for yourself. So just remember, this is a spiritual path. Go on it for yourself. Now, that also brings up another question. As we get that out of the way, that also brings up another question of, what if one of our friends comes and asks us about this? What if someone asks us or tells us about it? What will happen? Like, what do we say even? Well, the thing is, this kind of reminds me of a comment that I once saw. So I remember this comment, and this person said, if your friend comes up to you and asks you about subliminals and is curious about it, tell them you tried it and it doesn't work. That really upset me. Like, I was like, wow, that's really crappy. Now, here's the thing, okay? It's halfway crappy, but it's also halfway not crappy. Let me explain. The side of it that's not crappy is that if your friend, and if you know for a fact that your friend, they are a friend of yours, but you feel like you can't fully trust them, or you feel like they're kind of shady sometimes, because we all got them friends, like we love them, we really love them, but everybody got their own problems. Like, we really love them, but they got their problems, you know what I mean? Okay, in a case like that, I personally believe it's okay to say something like that, because if you feel like they're not going to use it for good and you don't want them to not use it, or to use it for bad or whatever, if you potentially think that they could possibly hurt you or hurt someone else or something, and you don't want that to happen, just tell them that and let them figure it out on their own. Simple as that. Like, if it's calling them, they will figure it out on their own anyway. But it's, in the meantime, just tell them that it's fine. But it's also kind of crappy, because if your friend is someone, like, let's say it's your good best friend, you know them, they're very good hearted, whatever, y'all are like sisters or brothers, right? Okay, why would you tell that to your best friend if they're not going to use it for bad, though? Like, that's another thing. And I know sometimes you can't really tell, but the truth is, if you trust that person enough not to do those bad things, I think if they're asking you about them, if they're asking you about subliminals, you should be like, oh yeah, I use subliminals too. We should do it together. Like, we should form a small group between us, or find some people who do subliminals as well, and just form a group, because the truth in the matter is, like, this person could be, being called to this lifestyle, and you're basically objecting that. You're objecting what is the energy that is being called to them, so that they could be using it for good. And I think that is so toxic, and just, it's toxic, okay, guys? It's really, really toxic. Like, if someone will use it for good, they probably will use it for their looks too, but they're more likely just going to be good about it and whatever. If you suspect that they will, then, it's fine. You don't have to go out and tell everybody who was like that, but if they come to you, and they're coming to you and asking you about it, just tell them, just be honest, because that can be really detrimental to someone's spiritual growth, okay? Like, it's fine to tell a few people. It is fine. If they're going to use it for good, it's fine. That's great, because we need more good people. We need more allies in the subliminal and spiritual community, okay? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And don't worry so much, okay? If you're worried about the subliminal community being leaked and being, oh, it's too popular and this and that, just bear something in mind, okay? The most viewed subliminal that I've ever seen was 6 million views. Literally, 6 million views. Think about it this way, okay? There's about 8 billion people on this planet. 8 billion, okay? 6 million people out of 8 billion. That's a very little amount. You have to take that into consideration. Unless you're living in California or somewhere that's really woke, basically, or really, like, known for that kind of stuff, more than likely, if you go out asking people, what are subliminals? Do you know what a subliminal is? They're gonna be like, oh, what? Like, they don't know anything. I promise you, the majority of the people in the world do not know about subliminals. Take a breath. Okay? It's okay. Like, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Don't worry about nobody else. Worry about yourself, okay? So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like if you want to. Thank you so, so much. Goodbye.